Tom Marks with the Marks Law Firm in Orlando, Florida, and welcome to the Healthy Family Law Attorney. Today we've got a special guest, Craig Rodrigue. Craig has for 20 years been helping families formulate and implement their plans for life insurance, healthcare coverage, and disability protection. As the environment for healthcare has changed, Craig has been at the forefront of keeping families strategically informed in compliance with insurance regulations. So Craig serves on the Advisory Council for AvMed Health Plans. He serves as committee chair for the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors and is a member of the National Association of Divorce Professionals. Craig graduated from UCF, and that's the University of Central Florida, for those who are maybe out of town, and has operated his own business for 25 years. Craig has expertise regarding the needs and retirement plans of families and health insurance needs of families. So Craig lives in Southeast Orlando with his wife and 3 kids. Craig, welcome aboard.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, thanks so much for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so, I grew up in Orlando grew up in Tallahassee. I came to Orlando to play football out at UCF. I actually had a degree in hotel and restaurant management, so I owned a couple of pizza delivery stores for a while, but I've been in the health insurance business for about 25 years now, so it's worked out really well.
Well, that's one of the reasons I have you on the channel, because you know what you're talking about. So we're going to talk about some really big issues today. One is the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan and the impact that has on families and health plans. Can you tell us a little bit about what the plan is?
Yeah, so everybody knows about the $1.9 trillion because they all know about their $1,400 stimulus check. But the $1,400 only added up to about 50 billion of the $1.9 trillion, 450 billion of the $1.9 trillion. What happened to the rest of the money? We're going to talk a little bit today about what happened to some of the rest of that money and explain to people some options that they have that are actually pretty exciting.
So tell us how it impacts health insurance plans and what the 4 key areas of the plan are.
Great. There's 4 things we want to talk about today, Tom. So one is COBRA. The second one is if you're getting a subsidy and you've already filed a tax return. The third one is, did somebody in your family receive an unemployment check this year and now you qualify for free health insurance? And then the last one's going to be how subsidies have changed on healthcare.gov, and they've removed all those income limitations.
Okay, so we have a lot to unpack here. Let's talk number 1. Let's say somebody you know or you've been laid off and you've gotten COBRA. How does the plan affect that?
What happened here is last year the pandemic hit. A lot of people had to be laid off from COBRA. And the way COBRA rules work is I let you go. I have 45 days to notify you that you're eligible for COBRA. Then you had 60 days to elect. But if you elected, you owed premium back to date of termination. Well, it was the middle of the pandemic, and a lot of people didn't pick the COBRA up because it was expensive. What happened in the American Rescue Plan is they now require employers to make a new COBRA offer to terminated employees starting April 1st, where you would actually get free health insurance. So I got laid off last year, maybe a year ago. I never elected COBRA. I've been uninsured with that employer this whole time. I now qualify for free COBRA insurance from the employer, and I do not owe premium back to the date of termination. It just starts April 1st and would run through the end of September.
Okay, so that's for this year, 2021, correct?
That's correct. That's for 2021, and that's for people that are still eligible for COBRA. So anybody's been laid off all the way up until now.
Okay, good to know. So let's talk about year 2020 and the premium tax credits. What do people need to know when filing their tax returns?
What happens here is you called me up and said you want to buy health insurance. I said, hey, Tom, how much do you think you're going to make? Tom says, I think I'm going to make $20,000. We buy you a health plan. I tell you that you qualify for $1,000 a month in subsidies. At the end of the year, which would be now, you sit down with the accountant. Hey, Tom, how'd it go? How much did you make? Tom says, I had a good year. I made $40,000. The accountant would say, well, Tom, you shouldn't have gotten $1,000 a month in subsidies. You should have gotten $500 a month in subsidies. And Tom is supposed to owe $6,000 back to the federal government. What this new rule says is if you made more money than you thought you were going to make for 2020, you don't owe any of the subsidy back. This is huge. We have people that owe back as much as $20,000. Now they don't owe it. The challenge is a lot of people would have already filed their tax return and already paid the money back. They're going to need to talk to the accountant about filing an amendment.
Yeah, I think that's a huge issue. And I know that a lot of family law attorneys are not aware of how the subsidies work. And if, say, a married family of 4 with 2 kids qualify for a certain level of subsidies, and then if they get divorced, then the higher wage earner who qualified because he had, say, the family of 4, now no longer qualifies because maybe he didn't get to claim either of the kids as dependents, and so he owes the money back. So this would help that person, as well as, let's say, the non-working spouse that got the subsidies and has to have made a certain amount before they were entitled to the subsidies, so they owe money back. That helps both parties in a divorce.
Yeah, it is going to help both because you are what you are at the end of the year when you file your taxes. So even if they got divorced December 31st, that change you're talking about would have happened on them. They're not going to owe that money back. It's a big deal, and it can be a lot of money.
Yeah, this is honestly, this is a big deal. And, most family law attorneys really kind of just say, well, talk to your insurance agent or talk to your CPA. And hopefully they're in the know on this. Hopefully the clients are even aware that this is a question they need to ask. So
you're right.
Good point.
Thank you.
Let me ask you about unemployment checks. What if somebody has received unemployment checks? How's the plan affect them?
This is an interesting one because this is a 2021 rule. So this is today. I'm married. My wife works. She got laid off of her job. So she went and filed for unemployment and received 1 unemployment check. Our family now qualifies for the maximum allowable subsidy on healthcare.gov, i.e. free health insurance, regardless of our income, our household income. So maybe I work as a doctor and I made $200,000 a year. We still qualify for free insurance because she received 1 unemployment check. So this is something people need to be aware of. Now it's 2021 rules. So somebody may say, well, I was laid off in 2020. I got an unemployment check in 2020, but now I'm working. That isn't going to help them. But for everybody else, it's a big help.
Okay, for 2021. Well,
Correct.
People are going to need to call you to get you to give them details on their situation.
Absolutely.
All right. So now we need to talk about, we've talked about how subsidies work and whether those are going to be taxable, but aren't there some new subsidies or new rules around subsidies in the plan?
There absolutely is. And the easiest way to explain that, we're going to go take a look at this chart. And the way this works, Tom, anytime I ever talk about healthcare, I always want to start here. So across the top, we have number of people in your family. Subsidies were available between 100% and 400% of federal poverty level, meaning a single person could make up to $51,000, family of 4 could make $104,000 a year and still qualify for a subsidy on the exchange. We're going to talk about 3 people so we understand what just happened in the American Rescue Plan. The first one is my buddy Dave. He's a family of 4. He made $52,400 last year. That puts him at 200% of poverty level. Show you why that matters in a minute. Me, I always tell people, Tom, I'm having to spend all day reading tax law and legislation. So I made about $17,000. I'm at 138% of poverty level. The last one we want to talk about is a married couple making $103,000. Well, they're at 600% of poverty level. The reason why that matters is depending on the percent of poverty level you're at over here, that determined what percent of your income you pay for your health insurance. When we look at David, David was at 200% of poverty level. He's going to pay 6.5% of his income. So if we go to the bottom, 52,000 times 6.5% divided by 12, David could insure his entire family for $284 a month. When I'm asked if anybody benefits from healthcare reform, David was benefiting big time. However, what the American Rescue Plan did is these are the old numbers. Now this is what you pay according to your percent of poverty level. So now David's at 200% of poverty level. He only pays 2% of his income for his health insurance. 52,000 times 2% divided by 12. Now David only pays $87 a month to insure his entire family. It's unbelievable. If we look at me, I told you I was at 138%. I was going to pay 3.1%, $45 a month. Now I'm going to pay nothing, $0 a month to get my health insurance. It's a big deal and it's a big change. What happens for these people, everyone who's getting a subsidy today, Tom, they have one of two choices. They can call me on the phone and get their plan adjusted right now, or they can wait until the end of the year and they'll get a big refund at the end of the year. In this case, about $600 refund.
Okay. Wow. So that sounds significant. Let me ask you, Craig, all of this put together, what's your advice? How does this help families going through a divorce?
Well, let's look at this last example because this is really the reason that we're here today. The last person I talked about was the married couple. So a pair of 60-year-olds making $103,000 a year. In the old world, they were not eligible for a subsidy, Tom. They paid about $1,979 a month. I was on the phone with a man today. Him and his wife are paying $2,900 a month. Now, though, the government says you don't pay more than 8.5% of your income for your health insurance. 103,000 times 8.5 divided by 12, they're only going to pay $732 a month. They now qualify for $15,000 a year in subsidies to help them buy health insurance. It's a big deal.
Yeah, so that's $700 a month-ish. They would have paid probably something closer to maybe $1,900 a month.
That's correct. $1,247 a month the government will pay for them now. Here's the problem. Unlike the first two examples where they get a refund at the end of the year, this person does not get the money until they do the application. So it's $1,247 a month in help they're getting. If they don't hear about this for 4 months, that $5,000 is gone. They don't get it back. If it's the end of the year, that $15,000 is gone. They don't get it back.
Okay, so they need to act on it. So let me make this clear. Like the last example involved a married couple, but this American Rescue Plan also helps people who may have gotten divorced this year and need insurance for them or for them and the children, a single person, right?
And I'll show you the big change in divorce. Prior to the American Rescue Plan, the question you're asking is, what happens if I get divorced? So Craig makes like $68,000 a year. He's married. Under the old rules, I'd pay about $300 a month. Our subsidy would be about $1,600 a month, okay? We said when you're married, you are what you are at the end of the year when you file your taxes. So under the old rules, I would have been single making $68,000 above the 400%. I owed my entire subsidy back, about $10,000. My wife, she didn't work. She's now single. She doesn't make enough money to get a subsidy. She owed all her money back as well. That was the $20,000 that was a big deal. Today with this change, it won't be quite as impactful. because today, if I'm above 400%, I pay this 8.5% of my income. So ironically, when I get divorced, I won't owe any money back, and my wife won't have enough in income. She'll owe a little bit of money back, about $300, because of the way they made these changes. So it's helping people that get divorced big time. Now, getting married still matters.
Well, obviously, we don't want to encourage divorce, but we want to encourage hope and help to families going through this situation to successfully navigate the family law process in a healthy way. So this could save them literally thousands of dollars a year in a healthy
easily $10,000 or $15,000.
Okay. Craig, this has been amazing. This has been so helpful. Great information. Love to provide content that can help people save thousands of dollars. You know my channel, The Healthy Family Law Attorney. So I always ask, what is a healthy tip you can give our audience today?
Man, I'm so glad you asked that question. I think the best healthy tip that I can give, for me, it's get enough sleep. Because if you don't get enough sleep, it's hard to do the other things that you should do. Eat right, exercise, those kinds of things. So for me, I think it'd be get enough sleep.
Well, that's good advice. I think I may have mentioned that previously in a prior video, but sleep is critical. There's lots of articles on the internet you can read about keeping your room dark, turning off all those blue lights around, keeping your, electronic devices out of reach and that kind of stuff. So good information, Craig. Great content today. Hey, if you enjoyed this video today, hit that like and subscribe buttons, hit that bell icon. Leave me a message in the chat below, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. And enjoyed the channel today, enjoyed being with you. Craig, you did a great job today.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me.
Okay. And we're still shooting new interviews every Wednesday, so look for those. I'm sorry, every Friday are the interviews, and every Wednesday are the legal content, which is just me talking about legal issues and family law. So thanks so much, and we will see you next week.
Thank you. Have a good day.